Okay. I'm still figuring out OBS. Where the heck is my audio mixer? That's an oh, I saw it. Never mind. Okay. Okay, good. My mic has a fun tendency of breaking and just screaming, and it's very strange and very annoying. And I thought I had figured it out. And it turns out I didn't. It still happened, even when the thing we thought was causing it was completely unplugged. Did I? Oh, whoops. I'm gonna delete that. Whoops. I posted a announcement on the wrong thing on the Discord. That's whoops. Let me change that. Never mind. I guess I'll do it this way. Man, I love how many deleted users are in my Discord friends list. Not even friends. I think it's just like history. You gotta love it when half of them don't even exist anymore. Okay, sorry that's quiet. I need to actually get everything out. um, you know the worst thing? I set world record for Sable any percent 3.6 and higher 2 days ago, but it's just not on there. It's still awaiting verification. I get it. There's a total of 3 moderators on the Sable category, but I mean, all of them are runners. Like, we're not gonna be running today though, so no world record attempts. Just learning how to play this game at all on keyboard, because I've only played with controller. But it's so much faster with keyboard. And I'm hoping more consistent as well, because keyboard is, you're either at like, oh, actually, I want to get my main account. You're either at full tilt or you're just not moving at all. Whereas on controller, it's, there's an increase there. The further you move the joystick, the faster you go. But keyboard and mouse, there's none of that. So it may make clips a little easier. Hopefully. Okay. Oh, wow. That camera turn is slow. Turn that up some. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, that's about what I'd expect. I don't know why I played with controller. I've just been playing a lot of games with uh, mostly with controller. As I don't know, controller is a different experience for most games, and it means that it sometimes makes the game a lot easier. Like, I don't know if I could ever play Outer Wilds on keyboard. I think I tried. It just did not go well. Okay, just like how this is not going well. Okay. Why can't the bike go backwards? I mean, I understand, right? It doesn't have an engine in the front. But that's just poor design. Like, This is how everyone gets around and you can't go backwards. What happens when I'm doing, well, this? Or something similar? Do I just suffer? Like I am now? Or I can't even get up a ledge I've gotten up 10 times already? Because that's great. Oh, come on. I'm definitely more comfortable on keyboard and mouse than on Xbox controller. Just as a product of me not using controllers for most of, like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, I had an Xbox when I was a kid. Like, no, I only ever played Xbox over at a friend's house. And, you know, otherwise I only ever really used Switch. Jesus, I cannot get up this fucking ledge. Also, I can't see. How the fuck did I end up back there? Okay, this is bullshit. What the fuck is going on? What even was that? I just got stuck in the ramp. Oh my god. I can't really practice the skips if I can't even get up this properly. I can do it with I can do it with most bikes, but this one, well, actually, I don't know. I've never used any of the bikes on keyboard. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wow. Yeah, no, this game is okay, if I had started playing on keyboard, I think I would have the same reaction switching over to controller. There we go. Jesus. That took far too long. That's how you end a run right there, by not even be able to. I guess I can't really do chum skip very well, can I? Oh, that was weird. Actually, yeah, better idea is to try to do this skip instead. Chum door is easiest on, well, when it's closed. Because usually you just clip through the closed door. You can do it with an open door, it's just it's not as consistent. Okay. Oh. Huh. I feel like you would have done a lot better at most parkour sections on keyboard. Because parkour on controller was not great. Especially, where is it? The climbing challenge. Right here. This was rough in general. Like, I think it would have been a easier experience on keyboard. I don't know how much better it would have been, but it still would have been rough because it's parkour isn't a huge part of this game. Like, there isn't a whole lot of jumping around you do. But for that, it's, you know, you have to climb up a massive cliff. And it takes forever, and that's why I don't want to do the all mask speed run. Even though I'm considering it, because I don't want to do any runs till mine is accepted. Might as well not nullify a record that hasn't been accepted yet. Although, I mean, that run, that was rough, man. Like, thinking back over it, it's like, I don't. Anyone could beat that. Like, just by seeing the run, you could beat it. Like, these clips aren't hard. So, by knowing the run exists, you can beat it. because I got a glitch in a cutscene that was just miserable, and takes forever to finish. Like it's a cutscene just down there where you get rid of old Samoon, as you can see. How do I call my bike? Let's see. That doesn't answer my question. It's fine. I'll figure it out. So that one, oh, I guess I can't exit on jumping. I feel pretty good about. Come on. Just because that one's, I mean, Samoon, the clips with Samoon are so easy. Especially that one. Like, that clip is easy to set up without, like, any difficulty at all. I mean, just ram into the wall for long enough and you'll be good. The next skip, though, Chum skip, it's rough. It's rough. We did a second run. They got world record, and it lost me like almost 2 minutes of just floundering, not knowing what to do. And I've practiced it, but sometimes it's just not enough. Right? Like, even some of the most practiced runners, like if you watch segmented Super Mario Brothers speedruns, they are some crazy shit of people doing some of the craziest shit. And then in the actual runs, they'll lose on 1-1 90% of the time. Like, that's one of the things about speedrunning is for a lot of tricks, there's no strategy. You throw a brick at a wall until it breaks through. And then sometimes the next wall will break immediately, and other times you'll break. It's just how it is. I mean, I should be saying that like I'm a professional. I've just watched a lot of speedruns in my day. And, like, for most world record runs of games, for most games, the categories are long enough. Even if you lose time early on, there'll usually be places to make it up. But in a run like this that's only 20 minutes, there's no time to make it up. The run isn't long enough. And with so few tricks, like, most of the time is spent driving through the desert. And, like, that's like 10 minutes of the run, is driving through the desert. And then that's it, right? So the tricks are the only way you can make up time, but there's only 3 of them. Well, 4 if you're really good. And altogether, they're not too hard. So as like a first speedrunning game, this one's great. It's not like an endurance run like Super Mario 64, but it's not like you need to literally be a god like Super Mario Brothers. It's just be vaguely adequate and you'll be in the top 10. Top 10 or top 5. I mean, if you want to get world record on pre 3.6, it's a little rough because the record's like 13 minutes and pretty well optimized and very well done. Every skip, first try. None of this slamming into this wall over and over again. I mean, I've tried speedruns of other games, but I I I, I enjoy glitchy speedruns. I know that there's a lot of people who don't, and they think that glitches kind of break the idea of speedrunning, but it's become the idea. It's one of those things that has just changed. Oh, I was getting not gonna work. It wasn't even against the wall. Um, and the most famous of runs are the ones with like hardcore glitches or are so perfectly executed to seem like glitches. Also depends on the community. Like, um, Hollow Knight is a mostly no glitch category, or like no major glitches. Um, but if you oh god, I can't even see. Playing something like Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, which is like the second highest played speedrun right now. Um, it only has 2 no glitches. What the hell? Only has 2 0 like no major glitches records because the rest of the people are throwing themselves at the the. I'm assuming I haven't even seen them, but I just vaguely understand how the game works, even without having finished it yet. I've tried. I just you get Roxy, and then that area is just a huge pain in the ass, and I'll get really far, and then well, okay, I'll get kind of far, and then I'll be sitting in a corner waiting for her to move, and then it'll just kill me. She'll just hear me not moving, and it's like, the fuck? Like, I get it. Gregory's a child, but he isn't like making sound of a jet engine all the time. Otherwise, it was a fine game overall. Other than like, I got it day one, and let me tell you, it ain't much better. The fixes that have been put in place are fine, but they're not great. Um, the most striking bug to me was textures on the walls, like posters of Freddy and the crew flickering in and out were really distracting. But other than that, I mean, you don't see many glitches that aren't helpful. A lot of AI breaks happen, like so many. It's almost ridiculous. Um, in fact, that's how I got through a lot of sections. Was the animatronics just kind of stopped functioning properly? Like, oh, all right. But I will say that daycare section that had me on my toes the whole time. They did a great job. Overall, very good. Like, it was well put together for what it was, and there was no precedent for it, right? Every the FNAF game has been the most unopen world thing ever because you can't even move. So the fact that they made an open world FNAF game and it was pretty good and had some fucking rocking tunes to it. My god. Oh, that was really clean. Honestly, one of the best things about that game. You start the game and first thing you hear is just some sweet 80s rock. And it's like, all right, you know what? Game, you're in my favor. And then once you get a little further in, there's little story on why anything's happening. And they've learned through data mining that's mostly cut content. The game was supposed to be like 10 times as big as it was. And it's super obvious. Like, just by the file size, it shouldn't be 79 gigabytes. Like, Red Dead 2 is literally almost an entire, like, United State. Like, and it is 120. The Witcher 3 is like 60. and is once again a massive open world, and that has all 3 DLCs. Or like all 2 or 3 DLCs in it. FNAF has little to no to show for its file size. Like every other FNAF game is, for the most part, less than a gigabyte. And while I'm glad they went overboard, maybe a little too overboard on this one. Minus the theming. I think they did a great job. But story-wise, I don't know. I literally don't know the story. Monty's pretty cool. I mean, he's no replacement for Bonnie or Foxy, but you know. I mean, I may be slightly biased, as I've always very much liked Foxy. Almost every iteration of Foxy. So the fact that there is no glam rock Foxy is like, come on. There's so much you could have done there, and there's so many references to Foxy throughout the game. And so many references to things that aren't technically canon. Like, there are references to the Help Wanted Dreadbear DLC. That just... that isn't canon. That didn't happen. It was... like, none of the Halloween DLCs are canon in any of the games. FNAF 4's isn't. And neither is Help Wanted. Yet, there it is. Well, okay. Shit. Help Wanted's a weird one. Because it said in the opening monologue that it was made by Fazbear Entertainment. So... does that mean everything in it's technically canon? Right, because that's the opening is... Fazbear Entertainment made this game as like a look, we're retelling these stories that all of you tell about at restaurants, but they're not real. And yet, if Help Wanted has a cardboard cutout of Dreadbear in it, that just means it's official? Because then, like, you can't reference something in a game that's not canon, because that means that it exists in universe. Ugh, maybe I'm just overthinking it. But that's kind of just the whole FNAF community, isn't it? Overthinking a game that was made by a developer on his like with his as his last hope. That was made in like probably 3 months in 2014. That admittedly looks pretty shit. The original FNAF, at least the office, looks terrible. I've thought that, not ever since it came out, but ever since I've started playing other games, and even the other FNAF games, the FNAF 1 office looks like shit. You can so easily tell the strategy he used of the entire office just being like a sphere and your camera being inside of it. Like, that was fine when it was an indie game that 3 people were playing, but now that it's, you know, the start to a multi-million-dollar franchise with that is no longer indie. FNAF is now categorically AAA with the release of Security Breach. It is a AAA title. And especially with an actual studio working on it now, I mean, I don't know if they can go back to the old FNAF formula at all. Because Steel Wool has built Security Breach, I mean, I guess it could be like Sega with Mega Man 7, where they're like, shit, nobody likes our new Mega Man. So let's just make it look like the one from the 80s. Because everyone loved that one. And it worked fine. But they've now changed the playing field so much that using the old strategy just doesn't work. It's like trying to use an old strategy after it's been nerfed. It's like, that just doesn't work. You have actively you have outplayed yourself, developers. And you know what? It was quite the outplay. But I still need to finish the game. I may not, actually. I mean, if I haven't yet, I probably never will. Like, it's been, what? Almost a month? I've had it since day one. But my collection's almost complete. All I need is help wanted. I don't want to play it on keyboard. I tried playing it on Switch and it was miserable. Like, you can't even play the base game. You have to play the, what is it, like the maintenance minigame. Otherwise, the base ones just don't work. They're terrible. I mean, I know I'm talking about a VR game ported to Switch, being played on Switch controllers. But if it's ported to Switch, then that means they had to have some plan to do that originally. And I really gotta say, it's not good. Not good. It's playable. Barely, but it's playable. I don't want to buy a VR game and then just play it not in VR. And hopefully that would help me get over my fear of playing FNAF games. Because I've never beaten FNAF 4. I've never even passed night 1. But I get so stressed out every time. Even playing it on stream, I just started collapsing. I was like, this is too spooky. That is one thing they did very well on FNAF 4, was Scott did a great job of making FNAF 4 scary. I mean, he did a pretty good job on the rest of them, too. I need to stop talking about FNAF. But then again, you could just ask my friends at school. The one time we have FNAF on the school computers. We shouldn't, but I put them there. Like a Chad. So it's on our shared drive, so everyone has them. And, well, everyone using a desktop at least. And as we got back into class this year, you know, people started playing them again. And the two friends I sit with during that class weren't really online for the, you know, golden days of Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, August 2014 to June 2015, between the releases of FNAF 1 through 4 in that time period. And so I started explaining what lore I remembered, as I stopped watching Game Theory after the second FNAF book released. Long after, but after he covered it, at least. Because I love that book. I love all those books. I've read the Silver Eyes like 12 times. Because it was just it was a good book. And just as a standalone book, the Silver Eyes, I think, would be pretty good. It wouldn't have the original, like, it wouldn't have the backing or the legacy it has. It'd be like if Breath of the Wild wasn't a Legend of Zelda game. Right. Breath of the Wild by itself would still be a great game. It just wouldn't have had the, you know, millions of copies sold because it's a Zelda game. And I think the Silver Eyes is similar, where the people who would have read it would have been like, yeah, no, this book's great. But I feel like other people would have wouldn't have, like, not appreciated it, but would never have just read it in the first place. Whoa. But that would have been a shame. I don't know where I was starting with that. Oh, right. Silver Eyes, good book. Twisted One's pretty good. Matt Pat cherry picks lines from books. That was essentially the moral of that story. And that's actually what made me just stop watching in general, was because I really liked the Twisted ones. It was actually the first one I read. I read that one first. And after rewatching that theory, I was like, hold on a second, Matt. You skipped the rest of a line so that this one line would fit in with your theory. And that essentially proved the whole theory, even though it didn't make sense. Especially after the fourth closet came out. Because it was saying that the twisted animatronics um, were actually the toy animatronics, even though there's official art of the twisted animatronics that came out, I think, before that theory that clearly showed they were not. And also a line in the book that said they were not, because they had like a weird translucent covering instead of fur like the rest of the animatronics. Not plastic, a translucent skin-like cover. And it was just like, come on, man. And then I started watching him again because he made a theory on Hermitcraft, which I watch a lot of. Shame that next season hasn't started yet. And then turns out that theory was not only stolen, but very poorly stolen, as the person who originally made the theory mentioned on Tumblr, where they originally made the theory, was like, they clearly never even watched through the videos I was mentioning, because the things they said made no sense. So it was like, okay, well, oh god, they said the things that like Matt Pat copied from me, he copied poorly. So I then stopped watching again, and I think that's how that cycle will go indefinitely. Is they make an interesting theory, I'm like, you know what? It's been a couple years. I think they've changed their ways, and then it just gets worse. Like, I started by watching Food Theory again, because the Omega Mart episode seems super interesting, and then I went to a Meow Wolf, the one in Denver, Convergence Station, which was really cool. That was a really cool time. And it's like, well, now I don't really want to watch the rest of the Omega Mart ones because I want to see it for myself, because it's in Vegas and I've been there a lot. Vegas is a good time. Not even for gambling or anything. It's just a cool place. Like, you go to Vegas and you're like, this place is full of stoners and gambling addicts, but you know what? It has charm. Like, just wandering through the casinos is really something else. Which is usually what we did anyway. You know, you go to M&M World and what else is even on the strip? God, it's been a long time. Hershey's World. Just like drop into the Bellagio, see the gardens, Caesar's Palace. Like, there's a lot to do in Vegas that doesn't have anything to do with gambling. And that's what we did. I mean, there's also a lot of drinking going on. I did not partake, as I'm not legally allowed to. But, I mean, you know, adults in Vegas will drink. That's just kind of how it goes. If you expect any different, you've clearly never been to Vegas. There's alcohol everywhere. Like, the Strip, well, it's full of casinos and things to keep adults entertained and gambling. And, well, alcohol is one of those things. God, I am very spacey today. I don't even know where I got that from. Right. Meow Wolf. But that was really cool. I didn't know what to expect, right? I'd seen a few things. I went with a friend on Halloween, but I was like, shit, I don't know what to do. I would usually play a spooky game, but I didn't have any for this year. And we both were like, God, that looks so cool. So we decided to go to Meow Wolf. And it's like, okay, that was really cool. Like, just the entrance. looks like a train station, right? The outside of the building does not, but after the front doors it does. And you know how train stations will have like these big wraparound screens that are like, uh, this zone is for loading and unloading only. It has one of those, and when you get into the lobby, you hear this weird like clicking almost, um, almost like I don't know what's way. It's like someone rifling through like if there was like a sheet of like wood or something with a bunch of like big like circular pieces of not quite glitter but like plastic in that kind of shape, and was just flipping them. And when you look at the screen closer, that's what it is. Is the screen is just a bunch of those in black and white flipping to read out messages. And just that is just the first room you walk into. And it is so immediately striking how much effort they put into it. And then as you just keep going on, it just keeps getting better and better. And it was so cool. Really a great time if you're ever in Denver. Otherwise, I mean, there's some stuff to do. Most of it's like the weird touristy, like, oh, look, here's the house Molly Brown lived in. It's like, who wants to see that? I mean, I've been there once, but it was just, it's like, oh, yeah, no, that's an old house. Like, Denver isn't really known for much, other than a lot of marijuana, which is just, I mean, hey man, Mile High State, you know? They're mile high in two ways. You get used to the smell. Actually, you never do get used to the smell of weed. I smell it almost every day, and you just never get used to it. You feel like you should, but you just don't. It's such a terrible smell that I guess if you're around it all the time, like I'm assuming people in like Manhattan, that place. Oh my god, I was in Manhattan on the subway, and someone had smoked a joint in there, and it's like, ugh. At least have the decency to get some high quality weed. Jesus Christ. And it was clearly like 30 minutes before, but you could just still smell it in the air. Like, have some base human decency. My god. Okay, I think I have a pretty good handle on this one. Be over here. I could probably clip through all these as well. There's just no reason to normally, so. And I mean, thing is, I don't even like the outfit that's in these. I'm being honest. The chum outfit is really bad. That's why I don't wear it. Even in my 100% save file we were on earlier, even though I wear the chum mask, I don't wear the chum outfit. Because it is just not good. Maybe I can clip in back here. Maybe? If I had a better camera angle, that would have been easier, but... Cool. Oh. Otherwise, it's been one of those, like, it's been like a month, and I haven't really played much. Okay, well, that's actually a lie. I've been playing quite a bit. Mostly Sable, though. I played some Minecraft, because, man, there really is just something about modded Minecraft. I never used to play modded. I didn't have the computer for it, so I only ever played vanilla. And, man, once you get the create mod, there is no going back. That mod is so much fun. Like, it's just... I also love wildly intricate, like, gears, wires, or pipes. It's such a great look. And let me tell you, create fills that love immediately. Like, the whole point is you make wildly complex systems of gears, and depending on who you are, you'll have it either running on one central system, or you'll have tens or hundreds of incredibly small systems to power. Oh, not quite what I was expecting. Oh, a chum. What I was expecting. Um, I go for the one central system, as you can easily cheese the furnace generators by just taking the ore out with a fan continuously. Like it keeps the furnace keeps burning, but you're not actually smelting anything. The problem is create gets super duper buggy if you leave the dimension, and you have to go to the nether pretty often, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're building a massive like lava generator, you're gonna be going to the nether a lot to grab blazes for blaze burners, and sometimes my fuel system would, or my I had a system to switch the way the fans were pulling every few seconds, and those would just stop functioning, which I think was more of a redstone glitchiness. But I was using create tools to do it. So other than that, it's pretty good. Also, the one problem with that system is it's almost impossible to get your timing perfect on the fans. So engines will go out for a split second, and if you have like a pipe network with lava in it, it will just stop functioning immediately. Like it will empty out and then keep going. Like it'll empty out, have to fully refill. Like it could be like, you know, this close to a pipe, and if your power goes out for just long enough that everything would stop, that's it. It has to come all the way back up your system. So if you're gonna do that, just have those gears running really quickly. Gear accelerators are super easy to build. Although, strangely enough, that super easy to build thing, it takes me forever to remember how to build them. Because it's always, okay, yeah, I have to connect big and small gears. But I always connected them wrong. Like, I always did them so it would be big gear, big gear, instead of big gear with a small gear on it, connecting to another big gear. Because I'm dumb. So after remembering that basic, very basic physics lesson, not even physics, that's just logic, it made it a little easier, but systems I had connected up to quickeners, I realized that they aren't going any faster because I just built them wrong. And it's like, ugh. But I don't really want to rebuild them because some of them are central to the function of my factory. And what a terrible factory it is. I spend most of my time not building because I suffer with the lack of inspiration very often, or when I do get inspiration, it's very like unspecific. So I would have to like draw something, and it's hard to draw something for the create mod because you never know if it's gonna work or not. Like you can usually guess, but sometimes that guess is wrong. And also I don't draw much anymore. I used to draw quite a bit, usually for Minecraft. In fact, I have a whole binder. It's a very empty binder, but it has a bunch of stuff from Minecraft base that I just never finished. Like, it was a super simple concept. It took so much time and effort, and I mean, it was easy originally because it was just building, and now it's mining out so much end stone that it's just like, I really can't be bothered. right? I have better things to be doing. Not much, but better things to be doing. Like schoolwork that I'm not going to do. Like one of my teachers was like, all right, you have to finish these up. And if you didn't yesterday, then it'll just be more work for you tomorrow, like on Tuesday, because we have Martin Luther King Day off. And me and the kids sitting next to me are like, no, I'm not even going to do them over the weekend. I'm just not going to do them. Especially because it's chemistry. Like, the only thing you use chemistry for in the modern age is you either actually go into a chemistry profession or you use it to cook drugs. I'm not doing either because I'm taking chemistry because it's a required course. But, like, I mean, I guess it could be good as it's like, look, here's basic safety. Don't make chlorine gas. It's like, oh, fair enough. And yet people still fuck that up. Yeah, there was like a post on Reddit of a of a chain of messages on 4chan of some guy who made chlorine gas and gassed himself. It's like, how can you be so stupid to make chlorine gas? And I don't remember the reason. I don't know if he had one. But to not only make chlorine gas, but then to not have proper protection while making it, to then gas yourself and possibly your whole apartment building. Like, that takes a level of stupidity that I just don't understand. Then again, just don't take, like, if you take physics or chemistry with any understanding of them, you will think that the people around you are morons. God, I hated physics. Not because of the teacher was great. I really liked that teacher. The problem was they were going over what the electron was, and there was like a diagram on this presentation thing we were using, and it's like, okay, click on the electron, and people still got it wrong. It's like, this is so easy. I get that none of you give a shit. I don't either, but at least I know what I'm doing. That's the only way I don't give a shit, is when I know what I'm doing, or it's just not even worth my time. Which some things very rarely are, but it's like, I have a computer class that won't start for, oh my god, another 4 days. So we've been sitting in class for like 2 weeks, if not more, 2 or 3 weeks at this point, just not doing anything. And we had to, like, it's just, like, the teacher is trying, but, well, not even the teacher, just the guy in charge of the STEM program is trying his best, but it's just not working. And it's like, that is the stuff that I don't give a shit about. Most of my other classes, sure, why not? Like, I need to pass these. But for this one, it's like, it's not even the content I want to learn. This is the class I was excited for this semester. But we're just not even learning anything. Why do you expect me to even try? The point where we had like a presentation that wasn't graded, and it was like teach, like, what problem is this thing you made solving, and we didn't come up with anything, right? We just saw something on the website for the device we were using, and when our turn came up, it's like, don't worry, let me do the talking. And I blew that out of the water, even though I didn't, like, it took me like a minute beforehand to be like, okay, I think I have an idea. And I eventually came up with one, and it worked like a charm. Like, that kind of stuff, that's kind of just normal. Because that's just school for a lot of it. Is to be taking a class that's, like, required, and you're like, I don't want to be here. But I have to be because you're either paying for it or legally required to be there. And yeah, it's just it's something else. School is just such a it's something, yeah, it's one of those things you do for a really long time. You're like, was that really worth it? Did I learn enough for this to matter? I guess just, or did you enjoy what you learned enough? Like, I'm trying to take a programming class, and that's one that hasn't started yet. It's like, I want to learn that, right? That's what I want to do. But instead, here I am presenting a piece of paper with a bunch of circles and lines on it connected to a PCB that reads electrical charges and presenting it to a panel. It's like I'm not learning anything, nothing interesting is going on. Like that's it. It's not something not something you get used to very easy. It's just one of those things that you do and then you're like, "Oh, well, I'm doing it. Yay." Maybe I should try out Hades. All I've ever heard is good things about that game. But I just I don't know. Like I have nothing against it or anything. In fact, I think it looks great. It's just I've never been much for roguelites or roguelikes or any of that. Like I think I'd play The Binding of Isaac. I just don't know for how long. Because I only have so much patience and it like it doesn't wear thin quickly, but it will, right? Like something like Pantheon 3 in Hollow Knight is one of the few things to make that patience run out, or at least get very close to it before I just stopped. Um, to not start hating the game. And I'm worried that like Hades or Enter the Gungeon or Binding of Isaac would just burn through that patience so quickly that it wouldn't even matter. Because that's what they are, right? Is it's play. I think Hades wouldn't, because you get to upgrade stuff as you go along, and the game becomes easier the more runs you do, which is both a point of like people being like, this game's great. It's relatively casual, um, while still retaining, challenge. Oh, that could be a strategy. And some people are like, well, I don't like the fact that you get to build on skills as you go on, because then it removes that difficulty. It's two sides of the same coin. Some people who are like, I'm playing this casually because I love the art style and the theming and all that. And some people are like, I'm here for the gameplay. The art style, the theming, the music, the characters, that's all great, but it's not the gameplay. And that's for every game. The Last of Us 2 has that problem of people who are gameplay oriented hate The Last of Us 2 because it isn't amazing gameplay. It's gameplay for a game that is almost entirely story, where the gameplay sections are here's a walking section where you can sprint, here's a walking section, or look, there's some enemies. And there's actually people who are like, I loved Last of Us 2, but I didn't like the gameplay. So it's like, okay, you want to watch a movie, and I have a dislike of that kind of game because it goes against what I believe gaming is, which is this: a world with a story that changes around you, or similar to. It really depends on what you're looking for. Something like the many games I've played on Steam, right? It there's so much going on, and it means that everyone's definition of gaming is different. The people who like Dark Souls want a game that is a challenge and really makes them work. People like The Last of Us like story and little gameplay, and there's people like me who want a fun, casual experience that if it's hard, that's just bonus points. If it's crushingly hard, that just takes away from the game. Um, Hollow Knight being the best example of a game I love that's pretty difficult, but until optional stuff at the end, it didn't affect the game at all. The game was still really good, even though it was hard. Sure, I had moments where I was like, okay, this is bullshit. But I got past them. Probably because the combat isn't super hard. Okay, it's hard, it's very simple. And that's the problem I had with Dark Souls 3, was it had complexity that I was not ready for. Um, well, it's not that I wasn't ready for it. It was more that I just. Oh. It's more that I don't have the. Oh, it's F. Okay. That's the one button I was wondering about. It's like I got to a boss I mean, my brother got stuck on him as well, actually. Although I got past one more boss than he did. I got past Yorm the Giant, and he never even found him. If I'm being honest, that was the only boss I was looking for anyway. Like, the rest of them were cool, but it wasn't like. Although, um, I gotta say, any Dark Souls boss with knights, or Souls-like boss with knights in the name, I don't like it. Watcher Knights from Hollow Knight, uh, the Abyss Watchers. That's it. So it's like Watchers or Knights because it means if it has an S, it's a problem. If it's uh ends with an S, it's gonna be a problem because that means that there's multiple bosses fighting at once is. It is the worst. I think that'll be it for this stream. Pretty chill, casual, just playing with some clips. Trying to practice some on keyboard. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, follow. Didn't, don't. Although you will make Chum Mask sad. So that's just. How could you do that? If you make Chum Mask sad, though, the shade will come after you. So, gotta choose your battles wisely, and I would not go up against this. Have you seen this thing? It's so creepy. Oof. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, morning, noon, night, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you. I'll see you whenever my run gets accepted, and I can actually start working to beat it, without being like, I don't want to overwork the moderators that aren't doing anything. I'm assuming it's for a good reason, right? They probably have actual lives. It's just whatever. I'll see you then. Yeah. Bye.